Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Jerome Reid here, and I'm so excited to close out season 4 with the man himself, Mr. Miles Minnick. He is an incredible husband, father, artist, creative, loves Jesus without a doubt, and can hit the smeeze like it's nobody's business.
Yeah.
Miles, it's an honor. Thank you so much for being a guest on the show today.
Hey, it's a blessing to be here, man. Thank you for having me, for real.
It's good. Good. I have a couple questions I want to ask you, and I'm going to start with something super light. Are you a fan of superheroes by chance?
Yes, I am. Yes.
Now, would you prefer Marvel or DC?
Okay, that's a loaded question for
I
me.
know.
If you have asked me a year ago, it would have been an easy answer. I would have said Marvel easily. But now DC is kind of starting to creep up a little bit because Marvel is acting crazy right now.
Yeah.
But still, I have more Marvel movies in my heart than I do DC, so I'll still say Marvel.
All right, bet. Yeah, for me, I'm the same way. Like, I'm a Marvel fan for sure. I'm a mix of both, but I'm excited about some of the stuff coming out with DC, so it's gonna be good.
For sure.
Now, what does I know this is a loaded question, but you can answer it however you want. What does the day in the life of Miles look like?
Whew. It depends what part of the week it is, right? During the week, it's pretty routine. I wake up, I take my kids to school while my wife goes to work pretty early in the morning. So wake up, get them ready, take them to school. I have breakfast. I try to work out a little bit. Then I create content, post content, make some music, and just try to be productive musically, answer emails, do interviews, podcasts like this.
Hmm.
And then my wife comes home and I try to, well, wife and kids come home. And then I try to shut it down when they get home around 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
But it's hard for me sometimes because that phone just keep dinging and I keep responding to DMs and comments and all of that. But that's a typical day during the week. But on the weekends, it's like unpredictable. I'm on a flight. I'm in Florida, New York. It really usually consists of me doing concerts and me hopping on flights almost
Yeah.
every.
No, I
Mhm.
love that, man. I honestly what I really appreciate about you is how you and you just said it, like you're a family man, you're a businessman, you do all these incredible things, but yet you like to lock it down to make sure you're spending time with family.
That's very important to me. Like
Yeah.
I never want to get my priorities mixed up. I learned a long time ago. I used to be a youth pastor, right? So I use this
Hmm.
illustration to show what happens when you're out of priority or when your priorities aren't in order. Like, have you ever buttoned up a shirt where you put the top button in the wrong slot?
Yeah.
Right, and then every other button is out of order,
Yep.
right? If you get the stuff up top wrong, then everything else just falls out, right? So I try to keep God first and then my family right there, and
Bro,
then
I love
everything
that.
else just flows.
So I'm a youth pastor right now, and I might have to use that illustration and quote you on that because that's dope.
Please, hey, you might want to like walk up with a shirt misbuttoned
Yeah.
just for the illustration, like
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I love that, man. Now, I could be wrong on this, but I believe you've been writing music since at least 2017, maybe even before that. But for those tuning in who might not know this concept of consistency, but to you, how important is it to remain consistent?
consistent. Whew. Consistency is key. Consistency is necessary. And in order to be a good steward over what God has given you, consistency is mandatory, right? If you think about a farmer and a farmer who's planting crops and trying to reap a harvest, you got to be consistent with watering those
Hmm.
plants. You got to be consistent in making sure it gets the proper care it gets in order for it to grow, right? So if you want to build a ministry, build a career, it's important that you consistently put out content, consistently put out music, and consistently build your skill, build your craft, and get in front of people.
Yeah.
For me, it's become habitual for me to pour into what God has given me, which is my career, my calling, right? I don't, I, it's like I almost can't have a day without doing something
Hmm.
to push it forward for the sake of consistency,
Yeah. No, I like that. And I love the illustration that you gave because that's the thing. Like if you plant a seed, you're not waking up the next day and you're going to see the fruit or the vegetable. It's going to take time.
hmm
And you got to be willing to put in that work. Now, this is a question you might not have had before, but it's a fun one. I have to ask it. But where does this incredible passion for the smeeze come from? Because you're too smooth with it.
Oof. You know, you know, Really good question, and nobody has really asked me that before. And what's funny is I've been thinking about this recently,
Yeah.
like not just the dance, but like the culture that surrounds it. So I'm from California, right?
Hmm.
But specifically, I'm from Northern California. And if you want to get even more specific, I'm from the Bay
Yes,
Area.
sir.
As you can see on your hat, right?
Yes,
Go State
sir.
Warriors.
Yes,
Come on.
sir.
I'm from the Bay Area, and I don't just say like, oh, I'm from the no, I grew up. I'm engulfed in the Bay Area. During the hyphy movement, I was a part of it. I had the
Mm.
dreads, gold teeth. I did all the hyphy dances, the Thiz dance, the Mac Dre era, all of that. I was surrounded by it. I was birthed in it,
Hmm.
right? And so now it's like, yeah, I'm a Christian. Yeah, I'm saved. Yeah, I love God with all of my heart, but I'm still so much a part of the culture, you
Yeah.
know? And out here, the smeeze, that is the Bay Area staple dance, right? So when I started doing it in Christian hip hop, it wasn't to try to make a trend or to try to
Hmm.
be cool. This is just who I am. This is where I'm from. This
Yeah.
is what everybody does around me. And so I don't know, it just comes out of me because it's in me, you know?
Yeah. 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 No, I like that. I love how it isn't just something like you said, it's not just a trend, but it's been birthed in you because of where you came from and everything that you've been a part of.
Yeah, yeah. No, truthfully,
Hmm.
truthfully, we could talk for days about the Bay Area, man. Like I'm still here.
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
Exactly. Like I'm out here in Canada, and I can tell you right now, there's not too many people that understand the culture of dances. A lot of times people think some of these dances came from TikTok or Instagram, but it's like, no, these are actual dances that came back from like years ago
hmm
before social media.
Facts. Before social media, and people, it's like somebody could create a dance, and then a popular influencer will see the dance and do the dance, and then you think that influencer created the dance, but
That's
really,
right.
we should trace back the origin of the dances to see what region it came from, because that could say a lot about the dance and the impact
Yeah.
of the culture.
Yeah, exactly. And if you don't know the origin of something, but yet you just adapt to it, it kind of makes it hard. Like if you don't know the origin story of what it means to be a Christian, but you just see it on social media, see someone that's a Christian, you're like, oh, that looks super dope. I want to be like them, but you don't know the background story. It's gonna be really hard to walk in what God has for you.
That's good. That's good. Get to the
Yeah.
roots.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Now, you have a song, one of my favorites called "God Put Me On," and
Mhm.
for the people who don't know this song, please go and stream it. It's an amazing song. Like it on social media and YouTube and all that. But where did the inspiration of that song come from?
Really good question. Good question. So, I was in the middle of a tour last year in March. The tour was called Invasion Tour. We had Stephen Malcolm and 1K Few on that tour. And as we're driving from Akron, Ohio to Boise, Idaho. Now, for those of y'all who don't know, that's one side of the country to the other, right? We are driving for, I think, 3 days to get there.
Wow.
I get a call from the Outsiders brand. The Outsiders brand is a clothing company based in Los Angeles, California, and they're a Christian-based brand, and they wanted to do a collab with me, like not just with merch, but with a song and a
Mm,
video. And so they said, come up with a phrase that represents you and your story, and we'll make
wow.
all of these things out of it. And so I thought about it like, what represents me? Like, what can I identify with as a phrase? And I was like, oh, God put me on. God put me on.
Yeah.
Because that's my testimony. I never had a label or like a huge cosign or a stamp from an established entity or a person to really put me on. Everything that happened in my life is almost like unbelievable. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Because it's been God from the beginning. So
Yeah.
that's where I came from.
No, I love that, man. It you can tell when you listen to the song and like when you watch the video that you're really passionate about it. Not just like passionate about God, but about the things you're saying. Like it
Mm,
comes out. And I know many people have been listening to that song, and I know I played it one time for someone. They're like, "Is this a Christian song?" I said, "Oh yeah." Like first of all, the title, but listen to the words, and then we'll go from there. But this is a question that I've asked a lot of people who are artists, and everyone is different in their own way. But what does your songwriting process look like? Do you have to be in a certain environment? Is there things that you have to do ahead of time? What does that look like?
Whoo, man, really good question. And I've been growing as an artist, which means I've been changing as an artist. So
Mhm.
last year I had a different process than I do now. So now my process is a lot easier and faster than it was. I'm at a place now where I don't write my
Ah.
lyrics. I think them and I say them, right? So usually I think 4 bars at a time. I put it
Mhm.
in my head and then I record it, and then I think the next four and record it, or sometimes 2 bars and record it, and then it just comes out. It comes
Yeah.
out that way. And in my experience, that way is easier. It's more fun, and it's like it's free too. It's freeing.
Mhm.
Like I'm not confined to a piece of paper or something on my phone. It's
Yeah.
like there's a natural vibe to it when I do it this way.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I totally get, and then with that process, is that even how, like, freestyle sometimes can just come out and write you could write a song in itself without even knowing?
No, absolutely, absolutely. I just did this like literally before I got on the interview with you. I thought of 2 bars, so I went in to record 2 bars, and then I just kept going, and I just kept freestyling, and it sounded really good. So I kept it, and now it's a part of a song. Just like,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, that's that's actually pretty incredible. But like you said, this is something that took you a long time to get to.
Mhm,
Beforehand, what was your process like, if you don't mind me asking?
mhm. So before, and I still may do this sometimes when I go to NK Forest House, who's my engineer and producer. He's a part of my collective.
Mhm.
Um, he puts on a beat for me. I go in and I record. I just like mumble melodies.
Yep.
I mumble melodies to the beat, and then we pick the melodies that sound the best, and then I plug in words to the melody.
Uh, I
Mhm,
like
mhm.
that. I like
So
that.
that's how I made God Put Me On. That's how I made I Don't Need 'Em. That's how I made a lot of the songs you hear now.
Yeah. The thing about that song, I Don't Need Them, and it wasn't even in my questions here, but I remember when you put out a little snippet on Instagram. It was like a reel, and it was a collaboration of different people doing dances to that song. And I was listening to that and I'm like, this sounds like a Miles Minnick type track. But I
Mm,
didn't know it was you, so I just kept scrolling. And
mm,
then I heard it somewhere else. Someone reshared it, and I'm like, that is Miles Minnick. Like this is gonna be a dope track. And the moment it came out, I'm not even capping. I probably listened to that day maybe 50 times. Like it
wow.
just kept it just kept streaming because the message behind that song, and if you don't know it, go listen to it. But the message behind that song is so true. Like if you're not all in, like I don't need you. If you're not all
Mm,
in for Christ, I don't need him. So I
no,
was
that's
listening to that
fact.
all day.
Whew, that song was like therapy for me. I needed to put that out. I was going through a lot where I felt like I needed people, or I needed certain things to get me to where God needed me to go.
Mhm.
But it's like, you know what? I don't need them because God put me on.
That's right. That's right. There you
Mhm.
go, man. There you go. Now you have another track that came out, and now I'm going to talk about that one shortly after this. But the question I have is an event that you started called Glowcella. You and a bunch of other incredible artists, a music festival led by you, Glow Collective, and many more people. How was that experience, and what was the message that you guys are trying to spread that day?
Well, the experience was phenomenal. It was amazing. We threw the first Christian rap festival in
Wow.
California. All right. We announced it at the end of March of this year, and we sold it out at the end of May, right?
Wow.
Which is unheard of, which was improbable, which
Hmm.
a lot of people didn't think, was gonna happen, but it did. And the message that we wanted to say is God still loves California. God lives in California. There's a body of believers in California who love Christian hip hop and love Christian
Wow.
rap. And we want our own community. We want our own things to do here. If you notice, a lot of Christian rap tours don't come to California. It's like the
Wow.
forgotten land. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
recent
yeah, yeah.
year. KB didn't come this year. Like nobody comes, so it's like, bro, what is we gonna do? What is we doing?
Mhm.
Like, so then we put it together, and now it's gonna be an annual thing, and each year it's gonna be bigger and bigger and bigger.
Of course, because if God's in it, then who's gonna stop it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Wow, dude, yeah, I'm gonna have to get me out there sometime. But I just remember when you were sharing a little bit of what you just said now about how it's like something that hasn't happened. And I've been thinking about that lately. Like how many times do we have thoughts in our head or dreams or inspirations, and it's like, no, I can't do that because it's never been done before. And then we stop and go, light bulb moment. It's never been done before. What's the reason that we can't start it?
Mm,
If God's in it, like who's gonna stop it? So
mm,
I just remember when I saw you guys come out with Glowcella, I was like, okay, first of all, the name's catchy.
mm.
Second of all, the message that you guys are trying to push, even if they're not believers, people will just be like, hey, I want to check this out because FOMO's a thing. And then from
Mhm.
there, these people get saved.
Facts.
Yeah,
Facts. And that's another thing too. Like we don't we don't build hype for the sake of hype,
that's
right?
right.
Now, you know, like we love to turn up. Like in California, like we get hyphy and all of that. But all of that would be in vain if we didn't point people to Jesus.
Yeah, that's right.
We don't point them to the source of every resource, the source of everything that we're doing. So at the end of Glowcella, you better believe we did an altar call
Wow.
and we had worship and people were saved and set free at a Christian rap concert, sir.
Yeah.
Mhm.
See that? Yeah. And I'm just praying for you guys. Like I truly believe that, like you said, year to year, it's gonna work out. And even if you guys face opposition, just push it aside, stay focused on your goal. God's gonna take it all the way.
Yes, sir.
Definitely, definitely. So the song that I wanted to talk to you about is one that you were working on for a while. I know it took a while to come out, but the moment it did, it was a banger like always. It's a song called Steppin', featuring What Up RG. What was it like, first of all, to write a song with What Up RG?
Whew. To write a song with RG. So I don't know if you heard this, but a lot of people refer to RG as the CHH Kanye West,
Oh
right?
wow, no, I never heard that.
Okay, yeah, he and the rumors are true. When you think
Mm,
of Kanye, you think of a creative genius, right? You think of somebody who's very talented, very gifted at what he does. But with that creativity also comes revisions. It
mm,
also comes like, let's work on this a little longer. Let's add this, take away this. Let me wait on this. Let me pray about this. So working with him was a blessing. It was a privilege. But with that, it took some time.
yeah.
Took some time for it to happen. So even with the delay of the song that everyone knew about, there was
Hmm.
also delays behind the scenes for us to even get it completed.
That's right.
But the end result, as you can see, it came out to be a massive success.
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely. And I was just thinking through, like, I just wonder what Miles is thinking right now. This opportunity that he has to write a song with What Up RG. The guy
Hmm.
was probably over the moon.
Hmm. Yeah, like you know what's hecka funny? I never said this publicly before. In November of last year, and I know people use this all the time and they sound super spiritual, but I really mean this and I believe
Hmm.
it.
Hmm.
God, whoo, wow. God told me, right, to get What Up RG on a song, right?
Wow.
And I was like, but this man never does features. How's this gonna work? And then the next day, he put on his IG story, he's doing 3 features. Then the next day,
Yeah.
right? So I'm like, oh, this is easy. I'm for sure gonna do this. And then we created the song and sent it to him. And RG said, out of dozens of feature requests that he got, he did none of them except
Mm,
for mine. Right? I'm like, oh snap, this is nothing but God, right?
yeah,
So even with all the delays and all the difficulties with the song, what kept me encouraged and what kept me anchored is the fact that in the beginning of this whole process, the Lord told me to do this.
that's right.
Right. So I'm like, listen, it's gonna work out eventually. He gonna submit this verse eventually. He
Yeah.
gonna be satisfied. It's all gonna work out.
Yeah. No,
Mm,
that's the thing. If God made a promise, he's not going back on his word.
for sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So you know that even in that moment, it was because in those moments you almost want to forget, like, God, did you really say that? But it's like, no, if I believe he said it, he's gonna make it happen.
Yes,
Yeah, he's gonna
sir.
make it happen. So now this question I've asked a few people. Sometimes they never even get asked something like this, which I think is really important for those listening and for us even as people, is making sure our mental health is in check. And what I love about you is your work ethic comes through, not just in the way you write your music, but even like how you carry yourself. And I don't know you personally, and obviously things that we post on social media sometimes isn't everything that we are. But
Mm.
I know you're a family man. I know you love God. I know you put your heart and soul and passion into the things that you do. How do you, as a husband, as a father, an artist, a creative, how do you keep your mental health focused and balanced?
This is something that I'm constantly learning and trying to implement in my life. Oh God, mental health is very important to me
Mhm,
because I am a very driven person to the point of extreme intensity.
mhm.
I have high highs and low lows, right? Like when I'm winning, it's like I'm on top of the world.
Yep.
But then something could happen that's not in my favor, and I could take it really hard, and it could almost make me crash, you know, metaphorically speaking, just all over the place and being down about it.
Mhm,
So my mental health journey, for me, what I try to value is unplugging, is taking a break. And I'm saying this, but it's like I'm still learning how to do that.
that's right.
Because like when you're constantly working and when you don't have a 9 to 5, it's like at a 9 to 5, you could clock out and go home.
That's right.
Right? But what happens when you work from home from your phone that you constantly have in your hand?
Mhm,
It's like I'm still trying to develop that system for me to unplug. But I notice when I do unplug, when I do just get away from the computer, my phone, my laptop, God begins to pour into me and he fills me up,
mhm.
when I really take that intentional time with him and away from the busyness of the day.
Yeah.
I was just, my wife and I was talking about this the other day. Every time I decide to do that, God does something amazing in my life. It's almost like I think a part of me didn't want to rest initially because
Mhm.
it was like almost a lack of faith. Like, no, I have to do this. If I don't do this, who's gonna do it?
Right.
Right. But if I'm resting, it's almost saying to God, Lord, I trust you with my career. I trust you with my social media influence.
Mhm.
God, if I don't post today, I know it doesn't matter. You're gonna take care of everything.
Yep.
Every time I give that to God, he gives something to me that I couldn't have given to myself every
Mhm.
time.
Yeah, yeah. No, I appreciate your response and your heart and sharing, and I can tell like it's something I think so many times even as guys and husbands we know the order and but sometimes we get all hyped up. It's like no, like unplugging is super important. And
Mhm.
I know it, yeah, I know totally what you're talking about. Like I work not really 9 to 5, but I have hours as a pastor, but then I do other things as well. And when you're using your phone with the work that you do, Apple came out with that focus feature, and
Yes.
I love that feature. I think that should have came out from the moment smartphones came out. I don't know why they never did then, because it literally is a time for you to pause and say, I only want phone calls from these specific people and messages from these specific people. But it's also
Yeah,
a spiritual thing because when God created the heavens and the earth, he took time to rest. And if God set in that example, like we have to learn, it's not always going to
that's
be
so
easy,
good.
but yeah, we have to be like, if we want to be more like Christ and he took time to rest, us resting, like you said, isn't us missing anything because we're taking a break to learn, grow. And then when God's saying, all right, get back to it, we get back to it and we go from there.
That is so good, bro. And I've been, of course, I've studied that and I keep hearing that. I'm just trying to master that.
Hmm.
And yesterday, I think is the closest I've ever gotten to having a Sabbath.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I just chilled and I relaxed. I was still on Spotify submitting my songs and stuff, but yeah, I
Right.
had to repent. I had to repent, but it felt amazing. It felt great. And I want to start doing that more consistently.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. Who would you say are maybe some artists or people that you know that have influenced you? Because as you know, community is so important. God, intends for us to be involved in community, to be around other people. So who would you say are some like positive influences in your life?
Hmm. Yeah, that's a really good question. and I don't think I've ever said this before, but No Big Deal is I think one of my main influences in Christian hip hop.
Hmm.
No Big Deal. To see how much of a pioneer he is, how he started Indie Tribe,
Yeah.
started Holy Smoke Fest, and how he created his own lane and didn't veer off from it. He's not swayed or pressured to try to
Hmm.
conform to what everybody else is doing. Since the beginning of his career, I've seen him have his own voice, his smile, his happy music, all
Yeah.
of that. He's done that. And I think what I'm doing is almost birthed out of what he's done. Like when we did WIT and me being able to spend time with him and us becoming friends after that, like every time we speak, he just gives me wisdom and pours into
Mm.
me. And he's not like he wants me to win too.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like he gives me all the secrets to run the festival, and he was even helped promoting my festival while I was promoting it. It was like I would say Dilly, man.
Yeah.
He's the real deal.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I like that. I love the connection and the relationships that people can find with someone, like not just when you write a song with them or work on some piece, but it's like a long lasting relationships that come out of that.
Man, that's my heart for every collab that I do, you know, with 1K Few, Wande, Hovey, What Up RG. Like I try to make sure that it's not just transactional, but it's
Hmm.
relational.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's how we have to be, not even just as creatives, but even as like believers, like the people that we rub shoulders with. I always tell some of my students sometimes whenever they have a hard time with someone or they're like, oh, that person's annoying. I said, well, if you think your fellow brother or sister in Christ is annoying, what are you going to do when you get to heaven and they're there? Like, they're not
Woo!
going anywhere. So you're going to have to get along with them right
Yeah.
now because you're going to be with them for eternity. So,
Yeah. That's good.
yeah. What would you say is a Bible verse maybe that has encouraged you whenever you're dealing with a tough time?
Mm, mm, yeah. Yeah. For I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you, not to hurt you, plans to give you hope in the future. Right. Sometimes when you feel like you're lost, you're going down a lonely road, or you don't know what's
Hmm.
going on, it encouraged me to know that God knows what's going on.
Yeah.
God knows the plans he has for me. He didn't forget the plans. He didn't misplace the plans. The plans are planted in his heart and it's on his mind concerning me. And the plans are good.
Yeah.
It's not doom and gloom. You know, so that one. And then of course, the all things work for the good.
Hmm.
So what I'm going through, it's not over until it's good,
That's right.
till it turns out good.
Yeah.
That keeps me grounded and anchored.
No, I love that, man. Those are powerful verses and scriptures, and I think, if we remind ourselves with those thoughts and those words, it will take us to places, especially when we're dealing, not just when we're dealing with a tough time, but even when things are going good, we can just humble ourselves and be like, "Oh yeah, let's remember Jeremiah 29:11,"
Yes,
which is dope.
absolutely.
Yeah. This question, I've had conversations with people in the past, and everyone has their own thoughts and inputs, and with the pandemic and things that the world has been a part of, it's been tough sometimes. Sometimes we like to question God, and he doesn't hate when we do that, but we always like to say, like, God, like, are you always with us, things like that. But as you know, being a Christian in the world can definitely be hard. In
Yeah.
some ways, people end up losing friendships over their relationship with God. They lose relationships with other people for standing up for God. But for you, how important, and what would you say to that person who's struggling? How important is it to remain faithful to God no matter what?
Hmm. I think it's key. It's key, man. You know, when I was a youth pastor, I used to teach this. I would teach there's a difference between you hanging out with them and them hanging out with you. You
Hmm.
know, a lot of people they want to be around their old friends for the sake of being a light and all of these things, but if you're not careful and you start hanging around them
Yeah.
doing the things that they're doing, it's more likely they'll have an influence over you. Whereas if they're hanging around you, you inviting them to your barbecues, you inviting them to your youth group, it'd
Hmm.
be easier for you to be influenced on them and they see the life you live and the light that you lead, you know. And so I think, man, I think it's extremely important, you know, for you to be who God has called you to be in Christian circles and at school
Yeah, yeah.
and at your workplace, you know. I think somebody is more likely to listen to what you have to say
Hmm.
if they see you're really about what you're about, you
Yeah.
know. If you're not just a Christian on Sundays, but you're at school and you have clean language, you're at
Hmm.
school and you're praying over your food, you know, you're at school and you're standing up for people that are broken and being
Yeah.
bullied, you know. I think that's necessary and that's very important, man.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And I totally agree with you. It has to be, knowing where you are in your faith journey, and maybe not saying God can't do it. Like if God's going to use you to be a light, he'll do it in the moment that he knows you're ready for it. But we can't just prematurely go, oh, I'm going to be the one to save my school for Jesus, but yet you can't even have a
Hmm,
relationship with your brother or sister in a
hmm,
healthy, safe Christian manner.
hmm,
Yeah.
hmm. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah. You have a song called No Luck, and the message in that song is powerful. You have some lines. I'm just going to read them here. You said, "She don't keep her eyes on me. She keeps her eyes on the king. That's how we connect." That's a bar. That's what I think. I think that's a bar. So many people, they don't understand the importance of keeping God at the center of all their relationships. But what is the meaning of that song for those who don't know the song No Luck?
Yeah, for me, no luck is like I don't I don't look to the stars, right? I look to the one who created the stars. I don't follow astrology. I don't go to tarot card readings. I
Mm,
don't believe in luck. You know, the word luck came from the word Lucifer. Like I'm
right.
good for all of that. Like I believe in the blessings of God. I believe in the divine appointments of God. I believe if you're in the hand of God, you're in the plan of God. You know what I mean? So, man,
Hmm.
no luck. I'm good off all of that. I believe in blessings, the
That's
blessings of
right.
God. So that's really the root of that for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. No, I love that. I actually did not know that the word luck derived from the word Lucifer.
Hmm.
That's actually something I'm gonna look into because
Yeah, so luck is Lucifer's blessings.
yeah, you're gonna have to be I'm gonna have to be careful now when I use that word.
I never say good luck.
Yeah,
And people think I'm too religious. I'm like, man, God bless you. Blessings.
right, right. But the words we
Yeah,
have, like the words we say, they matter. So
they do.
if there's an origin behind it, you can't use it.
Period.
Yeah, that's just how it is.
Period.
I literally have one last question I'm going to ask you, and then we're going to wrap it up. But when it comes to, and you can share whatever you want. There's no pressure to share anything that you're like, I'm not ready to share that yet. But what would you say are some things or ideas, inspiration, dreams, whatever you want to reply to? What are some things that you're working on that's going to hit 2022 with a bang when the year comes to an end?
Mm, that's very good. That's a good question. I would say I'm working on some of the best music I've ever made before. That may look like an album. That may look like some singles leading up to the album dropping in
Hmm.
January. Who knows?
Ooh.
And to go along with that, um, I'm about to go on tour in a few weeks with John Keith and Portia Love. And
Wow.
yes, and this tour is going to be massive. It's going to be special. And I think it's going to push the culture forward. For whatever reason, God's seen it fit to multiply my platform over the past few weeks. And with these new 50,000 plus followers I have, a lot of them are not from CHH. A lot of them are from, you know, different cultures. A lot of them are
Hmm.
secular. A lot of them don't believe in God just yet, but they're blessed by the music and blessed by the ministry. And
Wow.
I think that's the direction the culture is going into. And I know I'm going in that direction, not leaving Christian hip hop, but having an effect on our culture and the outside culture.
Yeah.
You know? And so I think we could look forward to God doing more, more
Hmm.
in a bigger way.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, I'm excited, man.
Bro, that's exciting. Honestly, I'm praying again for you and all those things that you talked about. I know God's hands on your life and your family, and I know as well as you steward the things God is doing in this moment. or in your life, he's going to bless you and your family in other ways. You just got to, like I said earlier, stay on that path. No matter what happens, he's got your back. But Miles, it's been a true honor, and I'm so glad that you were able to take the time of your day to do this interview with me.
Heck yeah, bro. Thanks for having me, man. I can't wait to watch this and post some clips from it, man. So, God,
Yeah,
bro, keep doing your thing.
awesome, man. Enjoy the rest of your day. God bless.
God bless.
All right, bye.